Have you encountered a person that wants to steal your seat on a plane? Or a person that wants to steal your gaming console? This is Jack Oligario. Today's topic is about the top 5 stories of entitled parents. Let's begin. Number 5. Karen tells TikTok skaters to leave the skate park because they are endangering her son. Little kid, about 3 or 4, runs up to the skate park as the TikTok is being recorded. Kid 1 skating, steers his board out of the way, but falls, scratching his knee. Are you okay? It's nothing. Watch where you are going. Read the sign, lady. There is a laminated paper on one of the ramps, stating that nobody under 7 can come here if there are skaters or bikers using the skate park. Stop using it then, the skate park. Hell nah. We were here first. I saw you letting them use the skate park. Listen, Karen. My name is blank brat. Blank. You know I own this park, right? I could have sued you for trespassing. The council owns this park, you crazy glitch. How dare you profanitize in front of my kid? Not a real word, Karen. Okay, this must break some law. Not yet, probably. I probably should not have done this, but borderline arguing with Karens has never helped much before. I am not a criminal. You are a criminal. No, Karen, you are the criminal. I am calling the police. Bingo. The police arrive and entitled mother states her name blah blah blah. She tells the officers that we assaulted her kid and tried to kick her out of the skate park. Back at it again, huh? What? Your friends have kicked entitled mother out before, according to her. They got a warning. How would you like to see your first TikTok? Just guessing he does not have TikTok, because he does not seem very social. Giving kid 2 a hint to show police officer 1 what she recorded, a whole 60 seconds of sweet evidence. Well, entitled mother has been sent home with her kid. Unfortunately, breach of the peace is not punishable by fine or jail time. Kid 1 got his knee scratched. Would that count as something? Depends on the circumstances. Someone is talking on the office's walkie-talkies. This is police officer 1, we are on our way. The officers leave and it was quite a fast altercation. The station was close by, so it probably took around 5 minutes from little kid running towards the skate park to the officers leaving. Number 4. Entitled mother demanded my plane seat on my redeployment from Iraq. This happened in 2006. I was in the US Air Force and deployed individually to Iraq, not with a unit. At the end of my rotation I also took the rotator back by myself. It was a commercial 747, the military paid to take a bunch of us to the US. Back then, we would typically wear our uniforms, even on commercial flights. The guy in the seat next to me was similarly redeploying and in his uniform. This was usually never a problem because Americans were typically very kind to servicemen in their uniforms in public. I cannot say how it is now because that was a long time ago. We had a layover in Ramstein, Germany, and civilians began boarding. These were mostly wives, children, and other dependents of those deployed to Europe. It had to be obvious those of us already on the plane were coming back from deployment. We were in desert patterned camo, glassy-eyed from mental and physical fatigue, and generally stunk of burn pit. Well, this woman with a baby comes right up to my seat and announces that we are in her seats. The other guy needs to move too because she wants to put her kid there. We were both kind of bleary and just stared at her in surprise. I didn't care where I sat, but the stewardess hurries over and says the flight is full and they can't reseat us. This woman shoves her ticket in the stewardess's face and says it clearly shows my seat number on her ticket. She wants to kick me and my seatmate off the flight. Clearly, she was more entitled to it than us. She flips her shut right in the middle of the plane and goes off on the stewardess. I stayed seated more out of shock than stubbornness. I had been awake for longer than I cared to think about by that point, and I was not reacting quickly to anything. I guess my seatmate was in the same boat, because neither of us said a single word to her or moved a muscle at all. We just watched her make an ass of herself in front of all these gawking passengers. She ended up getting herself kicked off the flight. In all, it happened rather quickly, but it still stunned me. The trip from Iraq to my home station was already going to be several days long, and she thought nothing of forcing me and that other guy off just for her convenience. I don't know why she popped in my head today, but I can't imagine being married to that. Number 3. That's my 3DS now, you gave it to me. This story takes place 5 years ago when I was 13. I was on a family vacation with both my parents and we were staying in an hotel in Turkey. This hotel had a pretty big lounge with AC. Our room didn't have AC for some reason, so whenever I got bored from staying at the beach I went to our room, got my 3DS, and then went to enjoy both my 3DS and AC at the lounge. After about 10 to 20 minutes of me playing on my 3DS, I noticed a child maybe 9 or 10, watch me playing right behind me. It felt a bit awkward to be watched like that from behind, so I asked him if he wanted to sit next to me and watch me play. After 10 minutes of him watching me play, he asked if he could play now. I was hesitant at first, but he kept insisting, so I let him play. He asked me if I had any other games, so I went up to our room and got 2 other games. When I came back, he wasn't on the couch anymore. He was standing next to his mom in front of the counter. They were probably checking in, holding my 3DS in his hands. Now I felt really unsure because he was just going around with my 3DS in his hands, so I wanted to get it back in my hands. I asked him if he could give it back to me, but he just insisted that it's his now. Now I was really shocked to hear him say that just like that. So I went to his mom and asked her. After I was done explaining that her child won't give me back my 3DS, she told me that he said I gave it to him as a gift. Now I was really dumbfounded at her reaction and actually got really panicked because I thought I'm about to lose my 3DS now. Luckily the woman at the counter saw me enough times playing on my 3DS in the lounge to know that it's in fact my 3DS. She told the mother to give me back my 3DS, and that's actually it. I wish I could tell you that she went on a crazy parade, that it's not fair or something like that, but I'm very happy that it wasn't so complicated back then. Number 2. Karen tries to frame me. So, I was at the groceries, and I saw a lady who didn't have enough to pay. It looked like she was begging, and she was a poor, old woman. Well, she looked like it at least. I had already paid and had a few extra dollars. I live in Australia, and what she was trying to buy was not that much. So, I went over and said, "I'll pay for it." The cashier just looked and then said, "Go ahead," so, I paid for it. I smiled at the lady and left. Now, we probably have a shopping schedule, at the same times, 1 p.m. Saturday, because I ran into her again, but in one of the aisles. I did not want to say hi, because maybe she'd think I wanted something in return. "Hey, I paid for your things, give me your house." So I just went to get what I needed, and checked out. Now, remember when I offered to pay for her? I was too busy thinking about how poor she might have been that I forgot I was saving that money for something really important. When I was checking out, the lady before came in the line, patiently waiting. Then, she demanded that everyone moved, and even pushed some. Now, some of them had children. They decided it was better to move to a different line for their own safety, even if they had to wait longer. Karen put her arms behind her head like she accomplished something. Then, she realized something. I was still paying for my things. She got extremely mad, but since people were staring, she did not do anything to me. That is when I realized I was short on a few dollars. Karen saw me looking for extra money, and then she blew it. "You're so slow, hurry up. I know you're doing this on purpose." Then she recognized my face. "Hey, I know you're making me wait, because there's people staring and you paid for my food. You want a thanks? It was only like a penny off." Now, we do not have pennies in Australia, so the fact that she was probably American made me more uncomfortable. "I've never been to America, sorry if I'm wrong." I said, "I'm sorry, but you looked really desperate." I was sad. So, I gave my last $8 I was saving. Oh yeah, saving for what? A chance at the casino? That is when people started to leave. Even some of the employees hid. "No ma'am, it was for save it. I need the manager." "I'm going to tell them how you robbed me?" "Yes." She pulled the classic, "I need to see you manager move." She asked all the details you need to call the manager, and all the workers answered because they were afraid of her. I will give you a hint. All the details were wrong. That is not the revenge part though. She called a poor employee at Domino's. It took 5 minutes for her to figure out she has been bamboozled. So, she hung up in a rage, and yelled for another 10 minutes. Everyone laughed, and she got so fed up, that she tossed a few of her things, and stormed out in rage. Now, before she stormed out, she screamed, "You know what? I'm going to take this. Points at display for yogurt for myself. For the terrible service." She grabbed one and stormed out. The cashier that was serving me chuckled. I asked what is so funny, and he said loudly, The reason it is on display is because it's expired. Everyone cheered and laughed and pranced around. It was mostly the kids who danced though. After a few seconds to a few minutes of celebrating, we all got back to shopping. In fact, the employee did not mind that I was a bit off. After all, he did feel bad and said I was also a bit of the hero. And gave me some extra money since he knew I was saving for something important. Number 1, entitled Dad Stole My Pet Tortoise. Backstory: I was always what my family considered a weird kid, playing with plastic dinos and stuff. My aunt was lovely thought and she always brought me the most interesting stuff. When I was 10, after a full year of hard studying English, which is a foreign language to me, with her she brought me this cardboard box as a gift for managing it. I will never forget that moment. In the box was a baby Herman's tortoise. I was 10 at the time. I used to walk the tortoise every day. Her name was Little Claw and she loved clovers and wax cherries. I have so many good memories of me climbing trees to bring her the sweet, sweet treats. All neighborhood kids loved her too. The story: during that summer we planned to go to the mountain, and we took Little Claw with us. We found an amazing place to stay that had a clean clover garden and humongous snails. It was basically the paradise for her. We spent a few days there without any problems. The other people staying there were mostly nice too. Here comes the first of the last 3 days we were to stay there. We ate outside like usually. After it I helped carrying the dishes inside while my dad watched my baby sister playing in a swing. He was also overseeing Little Claw, but there was no worry for her. She used to spend hours in the same place trying to eat all the clovers. I came back from helping with the dishes to the biggest panic of my life. Little Claw was not in the garden. In the beginning, I searched the garden myself and checked the fence. Then I raised the alarm, and my whole family plus some friends we were there with started turning every rock close by in search of her. I was terrified for her. No grass blade was left unturned in our search. We went from door to door asking the other people if they have seen her. Some joined our search. Even the owner, who knew we had a turtle with us since we checked in, helped us. After 2 days all hope was lost. I was in the clover garden, crying with my face in the earth, blaming myself for letting her alone. Dad felt horrible for her going missing on his watch, but I never blamed him. My sister was a lot to handle. While I was like that, entitled father came to me. He was the rude guy who slammed the door on us when we came asking. He sat by me and asked me if she was able to survive there. I told him that for sure, it was almost her environment, but I loved her and could not leave without my best friend. He asked me what I was feeding her. I told him she would not eat any plants besides clovers she picked herself and that she loved wax cherries as dessert. He told me to keep looking, got up and left. Later I told my mom and she got suspicious and went to his door asking if he knew anything. Entitled father told mom that the frog was going to live a better life with his daughters. Mom tried to enter, but he slammed the door on her. She came to tell us and then to the owner. When we all came outside, he was loading his car, his family already inside. He lifted a wild plastic box to us, flipped us and then drove off. We considered calling the police, but there was no solid proof of us owning the turtle. This was before phones and easy-to-use cameras. There was only a photo of her not yet developed. Moreover, we did not have solid proof that he took it. We only saw the box and not Little Claw. That was also our last day there, and we had to come home. I cried straight for 3 days. I did nothing but cried. For years after that I received only tortoise plushies, but you know those could not replace her. I still miss her after all those years, and sadly I have nothing left from her. Her terrarium was broken by accident in storage and the only photo of her ended up being blurry and got lost. To the guy who stole her, I know you killed her and all I wish you is to meet with your karma. Stay tuned for more stories. Watch these video for a moment. Thank you for listening in this episode. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next video.